In this video, we explore how to qualify opportunities. We discuss the process of when you're playing fetch or catch and when to act on leads. Welcome to How to Business. I'm Frederick Weiss. Today we're talking to the VP of the Sales Specialist team at Sangoma, John Roth. John, welcome to the show.
Thanks very much for asking me to be on, and I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
I'm very happy to have you. John, before we jump into our main topic, I want to ask you a little bit about yourself. Could you tell us in your own words?
I've been in the telecommunications world, and I say it that way because I've been in it since 1986. It has grown into the UCaaS, which is Unified Communication as a Service. I have been on the streets carrying a bag. I've run many sales teams. I've been doing this for a little bit of time. I got 5 grandkids, and I do a lot of fishing on the lake that I live on. That's a little bit about me.
Excellent. Thank you so much, John. So let's go ahead and get to our main question here, which is how to qualify opportunities. First off, John, let's begin with a high-level overview and dive deep.
I think qualifying opportunities is probably one of the most important facets of sales. We might get a lot of leads that we have to go through and understand which ones are low priority and to understand which ones are higher priority. It takes qualification, and it's really through a discovery process that you do with a potential prospect. Really starts off potential suspect in my world, the way I think of it. A suspect is someone that basically has contacted you, you've contacted them, you've made some connection. And then from that point, you go through the process of understanding what their needs are, understanding who the players are. And then once you get into that realm, it's this discovery process. Is your product or services something that this potential suspect, or when you get them qualified a little more, you go into the prospect phase, are they a fit for you? And you are a fit for them. I think that's important, that you don't just think that everyone is a fit for you. You need to vet those to make sure they are. And as you go through the process, it's really an understanding of, am I being called in at the last minute to put a quote together so you can have, the prospect can have 3 quotes? You're not going to win many of those because you're the last player in. They need to have 3 quotes. But if you're running in the beginning and understanding what your first initial contact person is, then from there you build on that. You go initial contact person. I always ask the ability to go, I need to speak to other mid-level or higher level executives at your company. And it could be that one person you're talking to is the owner, manager, does everything, so they could be doing actually all of the decision making. So to qualify them, a great question to ask in the beginning is, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being less and 10 being the highest, are you prepared to make a change in what you're currently doing? And that's really a qualification that helps you down the road. So you find out if you get an 8 on that, yes, I'm going to be doing this, or there's some sort of upcoming event that basically makes them, such as they're moving their offices, they have to move, their lease is gone, opening a new office, you have to make a decision. So that would be an 8. And then the other question as you get further into the process is understand you've gone through several, probably at least quoting, you understand the needs, you've got buy-in through multiple levels. The next question you ask is, on a scale of 1 to 10, would I be your vendor of choice? And that's where, the rubber meets the road. If they say, yeah, you're an 8. So now I got an 8 on being, they know they're going to make the change, and another 8. That is a very well qualified prospect and potential client. And that would rank above others because you're going to get others are going to say, yeah, I don't know, that first question of 1 to 10, it's a 5. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'll have to see. You rank those lower when you look at the amount of time you put into them, because I'm not going to waste my effort on someone that's a 50-50 or less than that, because it is a waste of time. However, you've still got to work those, but that are lesser priority. So you should have your lower level prospects that are at 5 or below in that first question, and the higher level ones are coming in when they get an 8. Those should go to the top of the board, so to speak. It doesn't depend on size, but those two questions will help you best qualify a prospect.
How do you know for sure when you're either playing fetch or you're playing catch? How can you really identify what game you're both playing? How
Yeah.
can you clearly identify that opportunity to take action? Or is there a lot of nuance here when it
Well,
comes to these scores?
I don't think there's a lot of nuance to it. I think it's more of a staying on point, staying on focus. Questions that I've always tried to teach my members of my team and myself when I was selling was basically, it's kind of like a volley. You're playing tennis or pickleball or whatever it might be. It's, you ask them up front, you get a roadmap of exactly what they need to make a decision. The first one would be, I want to know more about your company and what you guys do, and to see if you're a good fit for us. This is coming from our actual potential client, and you understand that, and you go, okay, and you write that down, and then said, what happens next if I achieve that part of it, and it sounds like I am a good fit? What would happen next? At your volley, you knocked it over the net to them, and they'd say, we'd go through this step, and I want to see more about the functionality and maybe do a demo. Okay. And then what if that went well, what happens next? So it's just back and forth. And now if you write all those down and you go to checkbox and you just check them off, so to speak, one by one, and you give them everything, you find out this really in initial discovery, and you find out, okay, and after that, and I presented the proposal and it's in the budget that you've asked for, what would happen next? And they might look at you and go, you an idiot? I want to buy from you. You know, it gets to the point where you make it to the point, it's, if I'm going to do all these things for you, and if I come across and basically you say, you've checked off all the boxes, then the inevitable happens and you get the sign on the line which is dotted, which is from our Glengarry Glen Ross. I have to refer to that great film of our times, but it just gets to the point where if they back off of that a little bit, you can always go back and say, we covered that. You said this, and we did accomplish that. That's where it gets down to basically at the end. It's like, it's a no-brainer. I've done everything you've asked me to do. So now it's time to get the approval on the agreement, and we'll start the project.
Excellent. Thank you so much, John. I really appreciate that. And John, now that we're at the end here, tell us how people could find out more about you. Where should they go?
I work at Sangoma. That's one of those things you can just seek me out wherever you might. I do host a couple of different, or help co-host, I should say, a couple of different podcasts, which are Heads in the Cloud. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on LinkedIn. If you want to come to Lake Placid, Florida, and you can search me there, and I'll take you out in the boat and we'll go fishing.
Maybe I'll take you up on that, John. I appreciate
Okay.
it. All right. Thanks. Hey, John, thank you so much for being on the show. We really appreciate it. And we'll put all those links in the show notes. Thank you so much. And thank you, everybody, for watching. Take care.
Thank you, Frederick.